Well, I am Asheville native, so born here. My parents were together up until early childhood, before middle school. From my memory, quite a volatile home. We lived near my grandparents, and when my grandmother died, I was in 6th grade, so I moved in with my granddad. We were not a church-going family, but I had the privilege. I lived across the street from 2 churches. I remember having the desire to go and ask my granddad if he would walk me across. They actually did an invitation, presented the gospel, and I knew Jesus was calling me. I didn't understand completely all what that meant, but I did recognize that I was a sinner and I needed a Savior, and accepted Christ that summer. By high school, my sister was living elsewhere. My father had taken a job maybe an hour and a half away, and my mom was living locally but separate from us as well. So we were all disbanded, and I played 3-season sports. By 11th grade, I opted to stop so I could work. During the process of work, I met a young man that pursued me. We started dating. We dated through high school, and I thought he was a Christian. And after I graduated, we got married. One of the things when I met my to-be husband at the time that really struck me was that their family seemed normal, and that his parents were still together and wanted different for my marriage. I didn't want the brokenness that I had experienced in my family. But the first year into our marriage, I recognized pretty quickly that there was something different, and I couldn't pinpoint what it was, but I knew there was a problem. My husband would say, "I am the problem, I'm the one that needs to be fixed." There was a change in his behavior. He became very cold, very distant, very mean, disengaged, drinking, being gone all night, these kinds of behaviors. It was a slow progression, and I didn't realize the verbal abuse that was going on. He made a comment out loud, "The person of Jesus Christ comes between us." We were married for 25 years, had 3 children. Fast forward to the 25th year, and he decided he wasn't happy and he needed to leave to go be happy. So he did that. I lost marriage, home, income. It just rocked our world. I remember after our separation for about 2.5 years, I just cried. I was broken. God really got me to the end of myself. The Lord would wake me up around 3:30 almost every morning for not less than 2 years, almost every day. And I would literally get out of the bed, get on the floor, on my knees, and just pour out to Him. My prayer became, instead of "Lord, convict him," as the Lord was healing my heart, it became, "Lord, pour out your compassion and draw him." Any hurt and anger began to dissipate. My heart became very tender. It just became a great time of healing for both my daughter, who was still at home, and I. It was my desire from then to not slander, to not know what he was doing more than I had to that was pertaining to our children. We never yet have all 5 been in the same room since then to have a conversation. It just would not allow it. It has taken almost the full 5 years that it's been since that day to regain my voice, to speak. I just didn't know how to interact in social circus because I had been isolated, essentially not just in my marriage, but early on as a child too. And I remember one day, my boss, we were going from building to building, and he was ahead of me and he held the door open. I went home that night and I just cried. because of that, because I didn't know how to handle the kindness. And in an age where we talk about worry and anxiety a lot, I have found that I have so much peace that it is unexplainable except for the Spirit of God. So in my situation, it's not something that I desired, and I wouldn't want to go through it again, but I wouldn't change it because it has drawn me to the Lord in a way that I wouldn't have been otherwise.